All right, what's up, Turtle Riders? How's everybody doing tonight? Good? Excellent. Give me 1 sec. Let me switch my mic here. Okay, so I chose a green and blue shirt, which is not the best option. I just like this shirt a lot. It's in the Turtle Boy store, but it doesn't. The problem with this shirt is it doesn't go with blue screens or green screens because it's got a blue line in it and it's a green shirt. So I'm on the blue screen right now, and as you can see there, how's it looking? A little bit of like, what if I do? Oh, what if I do this? Oh, ooh, that's close. That's close. Okay, we're pretty close. Okay, anyway, you'll just get used to it. That's fine. All right, I'm going to go ahead, guys, and I'm going to share this link on the various Facebook pages. Clarence with Emerson's back from suspension. God damn it. I changed the cover photo on this too, and it didn't fucking come up when I tried to share it on Facebook. Oi, it was a good cover photo too. God damn it. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm sharing it on the Clarence Woods Emerson page. Also, go follow our other pages if you haven't already. The Uncle Turtle Boy page. I mean, I can't. We used to lose Facebook pages all the time, right? And it was like, okay, start a new page. I could get it up to like 30,000 people in like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, something like that. Now it's like the Uncle Turtle Boy page has been around for over a year. I got 16,000 on there. The Turtle Boy Sports page, I even shared it on Facebook today. I'm like, on the Clarence page, I'm like, everybody go and like that. Nobody fucking did. So if you haven't liked the Turtle Boy Sports page, you're dead to me. Just go ahead and give that a like everything. That's your only job as Turtle Riders. Just fucking like everything. Okay. Make me feel special. Get on there. Make our following seem legit. I'm also going to go ahead and share it on the Twitter machine. Another place I can't suck dick for followers. Again, at Dr. Turtle Boy. At Dr. Turtle Boy, you can find me on there. Oh, good Lord. What's with the screen? All right. Anyway, go ahead at Dr. Turtle Boy or at Turtle Boy Phone. And is Turtle Boy frozen? It's frozen. Is that what you guys are saying? It's not frozen. I'm disappearing. It's because of the green screen. That's why I was late, by the way. Should I mess around with it? Hold on. Let me see if you guys, let me mess around with this. Give me 1 sec. Let me see if this looks better. Can you guys see that? That's not better, is it? We don't want that. And then I disappear if it's like that. This is kind of like the happy medium. See what I'm saying? I don't know what to do. Okay. Right there. That appears to be the happy medium. That's the best I can do. Okie dokie. So, yeah, I've gone ahead and shared it on all those pages. Follow them if you haven't already. Like you said, I'm with you, Michael. It's fine. All right. If you guys would like to donate to the program, there is a cash button there. Like it's called a super chat. How that works is if you donate, if you hit that button and you donate whatever you want to donate, then you can write a little message. You can give a shout out to your dogs, your homies, whoever. This is kind of how I make a living. So anything you want to put in the tip jar is appreciated. Although Turtleclub starting tomorrow, How Turtleclub is going to work tomorrow, guys and girls. It's like an exclusive club for turtle riders, the Finer Turtles Club. You can pay $10 a month and get the ad free. You could pay $15 a month and get the ad free and access to the Wednesday history podcast that I'm going to be giving a free sample of tomorrow night. You can watch it on either turtleboysports.com or tbdailynews.com. It will not be on YouTube. So it's my own platform. I can't get kicked off of it. That's the way we want to go. That's the model we're going towards in the future, is just self-sustainable nonsense. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that. It says love turtle. Thank you. Love you too. So again, if you'd like to donate to that, so tomorrow is the free sample. But if you pay $15, then you can keep watching it every Wednesday night. You'll also get access to other blogs. There's going to be blogs that are certain, like that come with, you can't read this unless you're in the Turtle Club. If you sign up for Turtle Club, you'll get to create a username, whatever. And it's just like with YouTube. We're going to test it out tomorrow. It's just like with YouTube. You're going to go on there and sign in, and then you can comment live as I'm doing my whatever. Okay. I'm teaching you people about history. What I'm going to try to do with the history podcast is relate as much kind of current events to historical situations as much as possible. I'll give you guys a little light on that. Has this ever happened before? Has anything like coronavirus happened before? Whatever. There's also other layers, other levels of Turtle Club. Right now, we're probably going to, it's like Patreon. If you guys ever gone on anyone's Patreon, it's a lot like that, except it's mine. I own it. So I'm not dependent on Patreon to keep me on there because they're assholes too. Okay, so without further ado, tomorrow's a busy day for me. So I got that Turtle Club is at 9:00, and then at 6:00 to 7:30, live in person, I'm going to be participating in a candidates debate for a school committee or a forum, whatever it's called. It's being put on by the local Chamber of Commerce. It's for the Holden School Committee. Again, this board, it's a 22-member board, and Holden has 10 of those seats. 3 of those seats are up for grabs. Two of those three seats are held by incumbents. Okay, incumbents. Yeah, we might be able to do something like that. I like that a lot. It's a good idea. Heritage Wealth Planning. Can't wait for Turtle Club. Give a discount if you pay for a whole year up front. Say 1 month free. That's not a bad idea. So yeah, again, it's going to start at 6:00, and I'm going to be debating the other, 5 members. I don't know if it's like a debate or as much as it's a forum, but I'm ready to rock. I got a lot to say. I'm like an hour and a half. I don't know if that's going to be enough time because I'm fired. The role I'm going to be playing in this school committee race is that of the upset parent who has watched his child get screwed over by a bunch of adults. And like the former educator, let's keep that in mind. That's one thing I got going for me. I did teach for 11 years. I know a thing or two about education, public education, that other people do not. So I also know what it's like to be a teacher. I know what it's like to be on the other side of these things. And yeah, I feel like I have a lot to offer. And I hope other people are too. That guy, Nate Como, who I had on here a couple days ago, his election's today. Anybody here if he won in Ashburnham? I don't know. Ashley, we had her on from Marshfield a week and a half ago. When's her election? That's got to be coming up too. So a lot of like your local town elections. Again, these are important elections. You've probably never voted in these elections, have you? I know you haven't. The presidential election comes around and everybody votes, right? Voter turnout in Massachusetts was like 70%, maybe higher for the presidential election in Massachusetts. And why? We all knew that Joe Biden was going to win Massachusetts, but y'all voted anyway, didn't you? Everybody wanted to vote, even though your vote really ultimately didn't matter that much. Whereas your local town races, man, your school committees, your city councils, your board of selectmen, whatever, those people control your life. And we learned that more than anything through this gosh darn pandemic, didn't we? We saw what can happen on there. We saw what happens when you give complete control of your schools to a bunch of people and you don't even know who they are. Because I've lived in Holden for 5 years. I'll be honest with you. They have school committee elections every year. I never voted. I don't know anyone that's ever voted before. Like under 1,000 people vote in a town of 20,000. So that's what happens. I mean, it's my fault. I'm like looking back at past results. Nobody's ever run. There's never been a race. Like last time 4 seats were up for grab, 1 person was on the ballot. So 3 people won with write-ins. Yeah. They're just like, well, somebody's got to serve on it, so just write this person's name in, and they win. But now we got a race on our hands. And basically, in this race, we have 2 incumbents, one of whom is insane. She believes that 10,000 children have died from COVID in Massachusetts. She once cried on command during a school committee meeting and then stopped on command and claimed that her uncle had died from COVID that day, and she was coming from the cemetery that day. No more comment on that. That's just, I'm sure it really happened. Sure, definitely. And my problem with that is she used that truth as a way to push for school closures. On top of that, we had another woman on the school committee once say that, oh, well, 80% of parents voted that they want to go back to school, but that was under duress. They didn't really know what they're doing. So they're treating us like we're stupid around here. And like a lot of people are pissed off about that. I'm not the only angry parent running. There's another guy named Barry who's running tomorrow. I'm going to encourage people voting for me, vote for him as well. And this other guy, George, you're going to like him too. So we're all going to be debating tomorrow. The live stream starts at 6 o'clock. It's on holdentv.com. I've linked it already. And it's going to be a good time. I'm going to be all appropriate and no Turtle Boy stuff, nothing. Okay. It's go time. It's business time, school committee time. If you've driven through the town, you might have seen my signs everywhere. They're hard to miss. I got the most signs now. Definitely. Like I'm almost out of signs. If you'd like one, I'm trying to give preference to people on busy roads. If you know Holden, there's none on Chapel Street. There's none on Bullard Street yet. There's none on Shrewsbury Street. There's a lot on Main. If you drive into Rutland, you're going to see like 10 of my signs. They're everywhere. If you drive from Holden into Rutland. So you're going to see them around. If you drive towards Princeton, you're going to see a bunch of them too. We're trying to get more towards Worcester. Or if you're on Salisbury Street, there's like 4. It's great. So yeah, hook it up. Okay. So here's why a big thing I'm running. So I started watching this video. We're going to watch a video tonight. And this might, it's my town, but you might be able to relate to this because these people are freaking crazy and they control my child's education. And I guarantee there's some of these people in your town as well. And you don't even know what's going on because I didn't even know this was going on. There's a subcommittee of the school committee called the Diversity, Inclusion, and Anti-Racism Committee. Okay. The name says it all. Don't trust anybody who says the words diversity and inclusion and is like being serious about it. I know those words sound good, but the people who use those words are always up to something. They're always up to some sort of shenanigans. The only worse words than diversity and inclusion is anti-racism. That when you see the word anti-racism, you're like, oh, these people are up to something. They're up to something because anti-racism is one of the great names of all time because it sounds good, right? Like, yeah, I'm an anti-racist. No. There's nothing anti-racist about anti-racism. Anti-racism means we're going to talk about race constantly, and we are going to focus on your race in particular. And if you're white, you're the bad guy here. You're the villain, and you need to just shut up and listen and be a good ally, okay? Because your life has been so easy and you have so much privilege and you need to just shut up and listen, people. Is it that hard to just shut up and listen? Well, yeah, it is. So there's this committee. And if I win, or when I win, rather, I'm going to get on this committee. I'm going to be on the anti-racism committee because these people need some pushback. The committee is entirely female, as we're going to see. And there's not a lot of diversity in these towns either. Okay. There's one woman on the committee who apparently is biracial or something. I don't know. She looks white, but doesn't matter. She identifies as black, and she is kind of like she's one of the ringleaders here of like, I'm oppressed and we need to push anti-racism and stuff like that. So I stumbled across this video from September 8th. And I don't know if you guys, some of you people watch this. I put in a blog about 2 hours ago. It's a long one, and I'm going to cut to some interesting clips here. But it's wild. And this is what I'm up against. When I watched this last night, I'm like, oh my God, this is insane. I cannot wait to get on this committee and just fix everything because these people are freaking insane. So let me share this screen with you people. Okie dokie. So there it is. All right. So let's watch this. So the first hour of this, how this works in this subcommittee, this woman who I'm running against, Asa Silva, who doesn't appear on film for some reason. She lives in Holden. Her kids don't go to school in Holden. They go to school in Princeton, the town next door, which is in the Wachusett district, because she has previously accused the teachers at Wachusett High School of being racist towards her children. Yeah. Microaggressions or something. I don't know. So what happened here is they had a student representative poll a bunch of kids and ask them, is there racism at Wachusett High School or Mount View Middle School, whatever? And the adults just kind of take these kids' words as like, yeah, that happened because the kid said it happened. And they just badmouth and they smear their teachers. And you got to hear some of these things. So let me find some good ones here. Okay. Let me see what this one says. All right. So here's one at 8:30 at the 8:35 mark. Let's see. About the books that they read in school. Let's check it out. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
An anonymous freshman at Wachusett states, an issue that comes up a lot at Wachusett are people using the N-word, a racial slur, not knowing its history and why it's wrong. I genuinely think it's out of lack of knowing its meaning or its part in oppressing Black people in history. There was a book we read, and it had a lot to do with the racial injustice, and the N-word was used a lot in the book. This slur was used to dehumanize the Black community. Black people reclaimed its meaning.
Low.
White people cannot use it for they have not been oppressed by this word.
Okay, let me see if can you guys hear that? Or do I need, because if I take this, the problem is I can use, this is the mic I'm using. So I don't know if it picks up, I don't know how to do two mics on this without having an echo. The volume is all the way up. I can't turn the volume up any more. So I guess let me try this. Let me see if this works. Try this one.
Word. The things trending
nowadays. How does that sound?
About by Black culture, whether it be music, equality is a belief that doesn't just affect school.
How does that sound?
The rest of the students' lives and should be taught at a young age. An anonymous freshman at Wachusett.
It's fine.
States,
okay.
An issue that comes up a lot at Wachusett are people using the N-word, a racial slur, not knowing its history and why it's wrong. I genuinely think it's out of lack of knowing its meaning or its part in oppressing Black people in history. There was a book we read, and it had a lot to do with the racial injustice, and the N-word was used a lot in the book. This slur was used to dehumanize the Black community. Black people reclaimed its meaning. White people cannot use it for they have not been oppressed by this word.
Time out. This is a freshman, guys. A freshman wrote this email. They actually wrote that they were listening to they were reading a book in school and it had the N-word in it. They didn't say what book. Some books, like a lot of Mark Twain books, have the N-word in it because that's the culture that he was writing about. Those are the words that they used. It wasn't pretty, but it makes it authentic if we're studying a period in time. Now, he actually says in it, I mean, I could not believe a child said this. Just listen to how sad and pathetic this is. Listen.
Were used to dehumanize the Black community. Black people reclaimed its meaning. White people cannot use it for they have not been oppressed by this.
Black people reclaimed its meaning. White people cannot use this word. I mean, a child has said, a ninth grader does not just come up with that on their own. That is taught. Of course, it's not true. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I would tell this child, young man or young lady, that is racist what you just said. That is extremely racist. You are white. Let's not forget that. You're white. And you're telling Black people and white people that it's okay for Black people to use a racial slur that was meant to demean. Oprah Winfrey disagrees with that. Kyrie Irving disagrees with that. A lot of Black people disagree with that. But here is your white self from Holden rolling up here, lecturing us because you heard somewhere from some idiot anti-racist moron that it's okay for black people to use that racial slur because they reclaimed it. Oh, right. That's how it works. That's how the English language works. Offensive racial slurs are okay as long as you're like, I reclaimed it. It's mine now, so it's no longer offensive. That's not how it works. But sadly, this is one of the virtues that is taught with anti-racism. And this is just sad. I mean, you hear a kid saying something like this. Go on.
Word. The things trending nowadays are brought about by Black culture, whether it be music, style, trends, etc. The N-word is in the mix with it, and many people don't understand why it isn't okay to use it. But with education on the topic, it will bring more awareness to it, plus really bringing action to when racial events happen. Another statement.
Okay, so big problem here. I'd like to remind you, this is September 8th. Our schools were supposed to open on September 16th. They did not. And every waking moment, and this is my big beef, every waking moment of your school committee, if your schools were closed and they were not spending every second of every meeting discussing a way in which to reopen the schools, figure something out, then they failed you. They failed your children. And that's what these people did. My daughter was excited to start kindergarten. And the people in charge of making sure that she could get into kindergarten were at a subcommittee meeting listening to 14-year-olds lecture them about why black people can say the N-word. This is the context now. This is insane. These are our leaders. Go on.
Anonymous senior Wachusett. My sister's ex-boyfriend was Black, and one time we were
okay. I'm going to skip to another one. I got some.
A friend, mind you.
Here's another one.
When she pointed out to someone who looked not just things than I have ever heard in the outside world, and it both worries and infuriates me. Oh, and also the amount of Christmas decorations in comparison to those of other holidays has always seemed offensive to me. I've heard so many students making a joke out of the administration's lack of representation for holidays like Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, but I feel like most of us do it purely to pull focus away from how horrible it really is.
Okay, so now they're upset because we focus too much on Christmas in school and not on Kwanzaa because, oh yeah, Kwanzaa is a made-up holiday, of course. And I'm sorry, but like, yes, we have certain traditions and cultures in this country. Every country on earth has cultures, right? You don't just go into Japan and say, well, we're not doing this anymore. We're not going to like greet each other like that, right? We're not going to use chopsticks anymore because your culture is stupid and I'm not assimilating into it. No, when you go to a foreign land and you go to another culture, you assimilate into that culture. You don't have to, but you don't get to complain when others don't accommodate whatever it is that you're doing. This is a Christian country. Christmas is kind of the big one, you know, and it's not like the schools are saying like Jesus was born and shit. Like that's not what they're doing. It's just a convenient time to have some time off. It's all it is. Christmas is a week before New Year's. It works. It fits. And Santa and stuff. It's all secularized anyway. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, he's not in the Bible. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. Trust me. Without talking about Kwanzaa. Okay? What's the next complaint I got here? Here's somebody mentioned of mice and men. We're going to go listen to this part.
Elise Senior at Wachusett. Each year in English class, I have read a book that includes racial slurs. Examples include Of Mice and Men and Huckleberry Finn. When we read this book, I have seen students say the slurs out loud. I have also seen teachers brush this off and not talk about the history of this word. I think it's important that teachers talk about the history of racial slurs and how saying them is harmful to Black students. I think if students learn this in class, they also understand how it is wrong to use racial slurs in and outside of school. I believe teachers need to also be aware by only including readings by white males, the message they are subconsciously sending to students. The message is that females of POC cannot make great works of literature.
Time out. Couple of things wrong. So good for the person that said Of Mice and Men. You got it. And I have a hard time believing the teacher did not mention that, oh yeah, we don't use the N-word anymore. I know Huck Finn used it. And I know they use it in Of Mice and Men. But like, you're not supposed to use that word today. I have a hard time believing that people graduated from Wachusett High School without knowing that the N-word is somewhat taboo. Somewhat. Is there a person in America that doesn't know that like the N-word is kind of a big deal? Kind of a little bit. I understand some people say it when they're singing music and stuff like that, but I think everybody knows like you can't just go out in civilized society and drop N-bombs. Nobody needs to be taught that. Everybody knows that. Okay? And the kids that are doing it, the kids that are saying the N-word, they know it's wrong, and that's why they're doing it. They also know that drinking alcohol when you're underage is wrong, but they do that anyway. And they know that the vape pens in the bathroom, I assume they're doing that now. They know they're not supposed to do that. But guess what? They do it anyway, because that's what sometimes high school kids do. I know it's hard for you to understand, whoever wrote this in, because you're probably a nice kid, right? And you don't like it when other kids do that. But some kids are just bad, okay? They're not going to college. Don't worry. They're not going. Trust me. You'll be fine. You're going to do better than them in life. For now, they get away with some stuff, and you can correct them if you want. But like, don't use that word around me. I don't like it. And that's it. And I bet you they'll stop. Trust me. But now they also go on to complain that we don't have enough, women, okay? Or whatever. What do they say? We don't have enough English literature. So this is a high school senior. Let me show you how this works in Massachusetts, guys. Individual districts can kind of like play around with the curriculum a little bit, but they are required by law in Massachusetts to teach what is in the state frameworks. I know this because this is what's on the MCAS. This is what's on the standardized test at the end of the year. Here are the ELA required readings. Remember, she said there's no writers of color and there's no women, right? So let's see what the ELA frameworks for Massachusetts say. Can I zoom in on this? Okay. For, what's this do? Can you guys read that? This is for 9th and 10th grade. Okay. This is for 11th grade. Let's see. We got here Emily Dickinson. That's a chick. Definitely. Jane Eyre, written by the Charlotte Bronte, a woman. The Great Gatsby, one of the most overrated books in the history of English literature. That's on there. He's a white guy. Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. She was a Harlem Renaissance writer in 1937. She's black. Zora Neale Hurston was black. A Raisin in the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry. Oh, yeah, she's black too. A black woman. Okay. I don't know who Jhumpa Lahiri is, but they don't sound white. And I don't know who Colm Toibin is, but they sound a little ethnic themselves. What do we got over here? What else are they reading? Black Boy by Richard Wright. Yeah, Richard Wright's not white. And I don't think Black Boy is about a white boy. Something tells me that. What else do we have here? Take the Tortillas Out of Your Poetry. I don't know what that is, but it's by a guy named Rudolfo, so I'm going to guess it's a little bit ethnic. A little bit. Henry David Thoreau, he was white. Common Sense by Thomas Paine, great book, but written by a white guy, so might have to get rid of that. I don't know. What else is on here? This is for 9th and 10th graders. Letters from a Birmingham Jail by Martin Luther King. He's kind of a famous black guy, a little bit. What else we have here? The Gettysburg Address by Abraham Lincoln. Written by a white guy, granted, but it was about freeing slaves. So there you go. What else do we have over here? The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. He's a honky. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Brett. Now that's a book. That's a book right there. If I was in charge of the state of Massachusetts in the English curriculum, that's all we would read in school is like dystopian books like that. We would read that. We would read Brave New World by Huxley. We would just read constant. We'd even read the Hunger Games, right? All I would read about it, because that's like the biggest problem facing, in my opinion, facing our country is not racism or white nationalism. It's totalitarianism. And that's what those books are about. 1984. We just we would read Orwell all the time. Hell, we'd read Animal Farm. That's a good one. we would read another one where those kids kill each other on the island. What the hell is that one called? With those crazy British kids, they start beating each other. What are those bastards' names? You know those little kids, the crazy ones, the British ones. One has the glasses, Piggy. The hell is his name? Give it to me. You know what I'm talking about. Somebody's gonna say it. Lord of the Flies. That's a good one too, because that's human nature. And that's like, I love books like that make you think. Those are good books. Those are great books. But you know, so this girl is just lying. And that's my issue with this. This is why I don't want to hear any student opinions on anything. We can hear you, fine. Say your piece. But it doesn't mean as the adult, if I'm in this group, I'm like, I'm not taking this seriously. Look at the frameworks. The frameworks show that they're learning more than this, right? I mean, what else we got on here? I don't even know. What is this? 6th to 8th grade? Little Women. I think that's a book about girls by Louisa May Alcott. Roll of Thunder. Hear My Cry. What else? Brown Girl Dreaming. Never read that, but I can imagine what it's about. Narrative of the Life of Frederick Douglass, an American Slave by Frederick Douglass. Yeah, that's not about black people. Not at all. No. Or Harriet Tubman, conductor of the Underground Railroad. Harriet Tubman. Oh, yeah, that's right. Former slave, black woman. So apparently for these kids to come on here and just lie, say, my teacher, we didn't read anything ethnic in school. Yes, you did, you liar. Here's the freaking frameworks. It's right there. Of course you read all these. So they go on.
I also think this limits the prospective students receive and therefore limits the student education. Kellen Fredrickson, Jr. at Wachusett.
Let me find another one.
I haven't seen any real hate-driven racism at Wachusett myself, but I have seen people being inconsiderate and feeling free to say. Another statement from Anonymous, Senior at Wachusett. When thinking about racism at Wachusett, I realized that I haven't witnessed much because my classes are almost entirely white. I believe that the school district needs to do a better job at encouraging people of color to take higher level classes and making them feel welcomed and respected while in higher level classes.
Wrong. Okay. This idea that like, oh, my AP classes are all white or a lot of Asian kids in there too. We need more diversity. No, AP should be a completely merit-based system. All merit. The color of your skin does not matter. And the fact that these kids are so focused on race is so unhealthy. Like you're in an AP class. It's advanced. Be happy to be in there. It's hard. You earned your way in there. Okay. You did that. You didn't get in there because of the color of your skin. You did that because you did your homework and you did your reading. And all you're thinking about is race. This is what critical race theory manifests itself to look like. It's dangerous. These are children and they're just sitting here. They're obsessed with skin color and adults are encouraging it. Elected leaders. It's gross. She goes on.
This could be achieved in a number of ways, and there are many programs and movements in other areas. Some ideas include promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion in elementary school, having clubs for people.
Oh my God. A student wrote promoting diversity, not equality, equity, and inclusion in elementary school. My daughter's in elementary school. I don't want my daughter asking me, Daddy, what's equity? What's inclusion? I don't like, I want her to ask me like, how do I multiply? Right? What does this word spell? Like, how come, what's the water cycle? Stuff like that kids are supposed to ask. Not what's equity? Like, what kind of normal kid says something like that? It's so gross. Go on.
People of color, etc. Secondly, while the national focus is on Black Lives Matter right now, as it should be, I think that we as a community should use this opportunity to advocate for and include all people of color as we work towards being anti-racist.
Oh my God.
Wachusett has a relatively large Asian population compared to the population of other minorities in the district. However, I have heard a countless number of racist comments against Asians that go unpunished and unacknowledged. These range from so-called jokes about Asians' intelligence to the use of racial slurs and comparing Asians to different.
Okay, so this is just so silly that adults are listening to this. I mean, yeah, kids say racial jokes in school sometimes. Is it good? No, you're not supposed to say racial jokes. You'll be okay. Kids said racial jokes in school to me all the time. They did it. It is just because it's edgy. The good kids didn't say them. The naughty kids did. That's it. And it was just to be a little bit edgy. That doesn't mean they're racist. They're just trying to be edgy. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. If they're making jokes about, I mean, every Asian person I went to school with, and I was with all Asian kids at South because I was in the accelerated classes. And, you know, there's not many white kids at South High School in Worcester. There are a lot of Asian kids. So pretty much and I was in the Asian club. You guys saw my picture. I was down. They brought me in. We had a gang called French Indochina Crew. I shit you not, FIC. That was our gang. And that's named after Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, because that's where most of these people were from. And they would always bust my chops about being white. And I would always bust their chops about being Vietnamese all the time. I used to say Bap Gu Dao. That was my thing. Bap Gu Dao. Bap Gu Dao. It's inappropriate. If my Vietnamese people out there know what that means. Bap Gu Dao. Bap Gu Dao. They know what that means. It's not appropriate. I used to say it all the time in high school, and they loved it. The Vietnamese people loved it because guess what? They're human beings, and they have a sense of humor. Believe it or not, racial minorities are human beings. They laugh. They think things are funny sometimes. They understand satire, stuff like that. Okay? They'll be okay. They'll be okay if you make a joke. If a kid in your class made a joke about how all Asian kids are smart, they'll be okay. Because they're thinking in my head, yeah, when I go home, if I go home with a B+, I'm in big trouble. They know that. Okay? That's not a stereotypes exist for a reason. I'm telling you. And that's a pretty good stereotype, no? If that's the worst thing you could say about my race of people is we do good in school, oh no, boom, roasted. Jeez Louise.
Animals. This is completely unacceptable. I have watched as my Asian friends become desensitized to this over the years at Wachusett.
Oh.
Nobody should have to deal with this. I believe
this
is mainly due to a lack of education.
No.
While most people are mildly aware of racism against Black people, many others do realize or do not care about the impact of racist statements to Asians.
Yeah, because they don't care. Okay.
So few POC at our school.
Okay, here's another one.
And act against racism and create a welcoming environment for all students, regardless of color.
So they talk about a kid who doesn't get to
Another
walk here. Check this out.
Listen. At Wachusett. I am a white student, but I have seen common occurrences and themes that should be addressed.
Okay.
Especially since the student body teachers admin is mostly white, these issues have been ignored for too long.
What?
I have heard white students say the N-word a few times, which is more than I should. Black students have shared their experiences in people making racist, threatening comments towards them. One instance of racism that has been sitting with me was in the 2018 to 2019 school year. I believe when a student had been making racist comments on social media to another girl, which the administration knew about because there was some sort of confrontation in the cafeteria, the girl who had been making the racist comments was still allowed to do things such as walk at graduation. Events like this or any racist...
Wait a minute. So outside of school, online, one unnamed white girl made a racist comment, I guess, online, and she wasn't allowed to, she was allowed to graduate. And this is a problem. This is evidence of racism because somebody made a joke online and they were allowed. I mean, Jesus Christ. This is what we're doing to these kids. You put me on the subcommittee, I'm going to answer these questions like I'm answering them right now to you people. I hear all this stuff. We do have a problem in this district. These kids are soft. These kids need to understand that they're going to be okay. That if this is the biggest problem you face in life right now, is kids making inappropriate jokes on the school bus or on Snapchat, then your life is pretty easy. You'll be okay. Go on.
Racist event should lead to disciplinary action. In addition to addressing these issues,
here's another crazy one.
I think that we should have an anti-racism curriculum at Wachusett.
There it is. I think that we should have an anti-racism curriculum at Wachusett. No. First of all, in what world do children decide the curriculum? Anti-racist. You know what that curriculum would be. No, that's not what we go to school to do. We don't go to school to learn how to be anti-racist. We go to school to learn how to read, write, do math, science, a little social situation, maybe do some sports, some clubs. That's what you go to school. You don't take a class on anti-racism. No, this is and these adults, again, are taking it seriously. Go on. Check this one out.
Anonymous senior at Wachusett. Racism and racist language is far too common at Wachusett. As a white student, I have been told to put some pants on the N-word by a group of laughing boys when I quietly walked on the school sidewalks wearing shorts. What? I've heard my classmates scream the N-word in the cafeteria and receive no discipline, despite the multiple adults within earshot. One of my friends immigrated to America when she was in elementary school. Within her first week at Wachusett, she heard the boy next to her joking suggest that she should line up all of the immigrants, legal or illegal, and shoot them in the head. I imagine a person you just met suggesting that you and your family should be murdered. This conversation happened directly in front of the teacher. No one said anything. There needs to be an emphasis on teaching the origin of certain racial slurs.
Okay, I just don't believe that. I don't believe for a second that there is a teacher in the Wachusett Regional School District that just heard one student say to the other student, "Oh yeah, oh you're from Mexico? Oh yeah, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to line up your whole family and shoot them in the goddamn head." And then the teacher heard that and was like that. I approve of that. That's good stuff right there. I don't believe that. I don't believe that happened. You know why I don't believe that? Because I'm a rational adult who isn't living in fantasy land. I understand how, nuances work, how conversations work. I understand that if that happened, it would be quite a big deal. And I don't believe that there are just teachers in the Wachusett Regional School District that are just okay with this. I don't believe that. And I have a problem with the fact that the school committee is allowing these students to badmouth the teachers like this. Like you're crap. This is about the teachers now. You're crapping on them. You're disrespecting them. I don't believe that. Why are we giving a platform for children to tell their unverified anecdotes about their teachers being racists? No, I have a problem with that.
And their place in dehumanizing others. Teach why they are wrong. Teach students the hard and horrifying truth of these words. History cannot be.
Here's another one. Let's go to another one here.
We need to eliminate the ignorance in many different races and other subcategories, along with the learning of the oppression that the minority races and other groups have faced throughout history. And of course, why these actions are wrong. Personally, I only know of one Black teacher at the high school. I know that the school has to hire whoever they find to teach the positions needed, but many underclassmen of color that I have talked to wish that they had more teachers like them that they can go to for support in a high school where the majority of students are white. I think that WRHS wanting to form a club or a committee of students of color to check in and make sure that they are taking better actions at the school against racism is a wonderful idea. I will stand up to hate and bigotry at the high school whenever I see it and try my best to actively stop these incidents from happening with the knowledge that I currently have, most of it from social media and reading outside of school.
These kids are zombies. These kids are just zombies. They're just taught the most ridiculous things in the world. Like this is like straight out of like Vox or something. They don't even know what they're saying. They think they do. And they think they're enlightened because this is the problem. We've told like young people, you're the future. Yeah. Greta, what's her name? The true and Swedish girl. Yeah. We should listen to you about everything. Tell us, enlighten us, little girl, about how we should fix the planet. No. Kids don't always know everything. Okay. And that's okay. That's what they're in school to learn things. I just think that it is ill-advised for adults to, take the word of children on everything, listen to everything they have to say, assume that it's all true, and allow them to smear their teachers like this. I mean, it sounds like a script, like you said, Penny Packer. I mean, that sounds like a script. So, yeah, I just find that hard to believe that this happens like that. I mean, it seems problematic. Okay. Here's another one. And by the way, this whole, so I guess there's not enough Black teachers in the school, right? And I've heard this one a million times. That's racist. That is critical race theory right there. If you have been taught that, Black kids can only, the only people who understand them are other black teachers. Therefore, we need more black teachers in the school. That's racist, man. There wasn't a single time where I was like in high school, like, well, I can't go talk to that teacher. They're Puerto Rican, right? I can't go talk to that teacher. They're black. They don't understand me. They don't understand what it's like to be a white kid, a minority kid in this school. They don't get me. I need a white teacher to go and talk to. If I don't have a white teacher to talk to, I'm going to feel all lonely and alone. No, that's ridiculous. It's absurd. And again, getting people to focus on their race and their identity is the backbone of critical race theory, right? That's what it's all about. It's just your racial identity is what defines you. You cannot possibly speak to a white teacher. They'll never understand you because your racial identity is what defines you. And that's ridiculous. I mean, that's absolutely absurd. The fact of the matter is that there aren't a lot of black teachers. Now, why is that? Well, the fact of the matter is that teachers don't get paid that much money, right? I mean, you can make a fine middle-class living, whatever, make between, $50,000 and $100,000 a year, depending on what district you're in. You can live off of that. You'll be fine. You'll never be rich. You'll never be poor. You'll always have health insurance. You'll have relatively good job security. It's not so bad. It's not so good. I mean, a lot of crappy things come along with the job, but it's not so bad. So why aren't black people doing it then? Well, the reality of it is that if you are, to be a teacher, you have to have a master's degree. You have to keep getting your education. So if you are a black person in America with a master's degree, you are a commodity. You have more value on the free market than the average white person with a master's degree because there isn't a company in America, not one, that isn't looking to diversify its board of directors or upper management. Everybody is. And so if you have the qualifications, they're going to hire you and they're going to pay you a lot of money, a lot more money than a teacher would. That is the reality of it all, is that teaching is not a very well compensated job. And so a lot of these people, quite frankly, are overqualified. Like if you have a PhD and you're teaching high school and you're making $85,000 a year, what are you doing? You can make a lot more than that. You have a master's degree. You're like, what are you teaching for? You're going into school every day. You're being disrespected by kids. It's a thankless job, man. I've done it. So that is the reality. Every time they talk about, why aren't there enough black teachers? That's the reality of it all that nobody wants to talk about. They're not applying for that reason. So go on.
Which I think says a lot in itself.
Well, here's another one.
Another statement from Anonymous, senior at Wachusett. Anonymous from senior at Wachusett.
Anonymous.
Racism is deeply embedded in the culture and the administration of Wachusett. The administration has done little to mitigate the continued harassment and trauma that students of color receive.
What?
Wachusett also has done little to diversify its curriculum and to teach beyond a white perspective.
What?
Slurs, racist mockery, and various microaggressions are common throughout the entire district. It is obvious how ill-informed many students are.
Why is microaggression even a word that a child has in their vocabulary? That in and of itself is an example of what critical race theory looks like when it manifests itself. I don't believe that, these kids are just allowed there. This is the principal of the high school. You're going up there, you're smearing him in front of the school committee, saying you're a racist. You're allowing this racism to happen. Are you kidding me? It's wild. They're also saying we don't learn from a black perspective. What? Let's check out the history frameworks, okay? Because I got those frameworks too. Let's check those out, shall we? Again, they are required by law to teach what is in the frameworks. So here is some world history frameworks, okay? Pull this, make this bigger. Boom. How do I get rid of the thing on the side? I'd like to get rid of that. I don't want to press the wrong thing. What happens if I press that? Nope. Okay, whatever. Anyway, world history frameworks, interactions of kingdoms and empires. The West African empires of ancient Ghana. Oh, interesting. The East African sub-Saharan kingdoms of Axum in the Swahili city-states, the Song dynasty, the Mongol Empire, the Ottoman Empire. What are these people talking about? You learned all this stuff in school. This is in your 9th grade world history textbook. It's all right there. Now, are you saying that you're not learning it from a Swahili perspective? Well, no, duh. No, duh. They were the conquered people. They didn't have internet. They didn't have like books to write this stuff down in. Traditionally, how history works is the victors write it. And you're also living in the United States of America. So you're learning from it, yes, from an American perspective, but clearly, like if you're like, okay, so there was people living in what's today Kenya, right? And then the British people went in there and then they took it over and they colonized it. What else do you need to know? What else do you like? What you've already learned both perspectives. The black people were the ones who got taken over. The white people, the ones who took them over. That's not race. That's history. That's me telling you what happened. Okay. That's not like perspective. That's like, here is what happened. Hold on. There we go. What the? Does that work? Whatever. All right. Next.
And how they are,
actually, that was that. Let's look at the, because I want to show you guys the history, because I taught him, I didn't teach world history. I find all that stuff quite boring. Actually, I have no interest in like world history. I like American history. Find it a lot more interesting. And here are some required readings. Okay. Let me see if I can find. So here's high school. Here's the world history one, frameworks. Here is European history one, the global effects of imperialism. Okay, so it's like not only is like how did it affect the white people, but how did it affect others? Like for instance, this one, the writings of 18th and 19th century European race theorists that posited differences among races and the superiority of the Caucasian race as scientific fact, including the concept of social Darwinism, thus justifying European attitudes towards colonialism and slavery. Bingo! What else do you need to learn? Like, white people thought that they were superior. They weren't, right? We know that now, but that was the BS excuse that they would come up with to be like, it's okay to conquer these people because social Darwinism, we're white. This is what we should do, right? That's what happened. Okay. Now, the people that they were taking over would disagree with that. But to say that you weren't taught that is just a lie. You're just lying, right? I mean, look at, they're learning about all these empires, right? All over the world. And let me get to the part, the U.S. history part. Okay. Here is, there's World War II, Cold War era. Okay. Where'd it go? Hold on. World War II is not really, because these people are obsessed with race. So I'm going to find some race stuff in here that they like. But we don't ever learn about the other perspective. Okay, let's find out. Let's find out. The Berlin Wall, Cold War. Hold on. The era of globalization. Do we already pass this part? Whatever. Okay, the civil rights era. They learn it all in here. Okay, look at all these readings that they have to do. Right. Several of these readings are actually written by people of color. Right. Go through the Massachusetts State Frameworks. Again, it's all in here. It's all in here. So all these people are just lying. They're all lying. Anyway, because I taught this. The curriculum covers everything, man. So anybody who's like, oh, we never learned that. No, you did. You were just sleeping. Trust me. I remember you in class. You were the kid that was, you were looking out into outer space or checking your cell phone at the time that happens. But the rest of us, we were talking about it. Okay. So back to this.
There has been.
So we haven't got to the good parts.
Dangerous ignorance. Wachusett has a lot to do. Another statement, anonymous senior at Wachusett. Acknowledgement there's an ignorance on the fact that we have like 1% people of color The curriculum itself, because for the most part of the time, a Black person is mentioned in history or English class, it's as a slave when Black history is more than just being a slave. We have one Black teacher at the school, and that's it, not even a Black counselor. There aren't any other minority teachers besides like Spanish and French teachers. Personally, this has...
Like, that's not true. You learn about Booker T. Washington. You learn about W.E.B. Du Bois. You learn about Marcus Garvey. You learn about Martin Luther King wasn't a slave, was he? Rosa Parks wasn't a slave. Yeah, a lot of them are victims. They were treated as second-class citizens, but that's history. It wasn't pretty, folks. It wasn't pretty. So this goes on for 50 minutes to an hour. And then the adults get to talk. Now, do you think any of the adults did what I did, the elected leaders in town? No. Let's check out what the adults did. Let me find the good part here. Okay, here's the first part. Let me go to the 5530 part.
Even my daughter's at the junior high. So I definitely think that we need to meet more often than once a month. If there was any way that we could do a quick motion on that, or maybe we'll decide at the end of the meeting when we'll meet again. But I think that it should at least be, at the very least every other week. And something needs to be implemented as quickly as possible. And for implementing something, I'm thinking, setting up a safe place for advocacy. So whether or not that's, an email address that people can write into and let them, and either, anonymously or, just letting somebody or a group, an advocacy group of some sort, know what's going on so that issue can actually be dealt with and not just swept under the rug. It looks to me as though when people have gone to the administration of that school, nothing has been done.
Okay, see right there, when it looks to me as if when kids go to administration in that school with racism, nothing gets done. Because why? Because you believed an anonymous email from a child. You're a grown-up, and you're taking the word as gospel of an anonymous email from a child, and you are willing to throw your educators and your administrators under the bus because a child slandered them. This ends the day I get on the school committee. This ends. This nonsense. Not a single person would ever call these people out, ever. That changes when I get on the school committee.
So there needs to be a place in between that is going to be able to talk with the school about that specific issue or those groups of issues that are coming in to them. And it can't just be held on to all year long and then get, a string of emails like this. Again, it needs to be dealt and addressed with, right away.
No, there really were emails, guys. So how this works is the kids from the high school submitted emails to the school committee, and then the school committee read them out loud as if they were fact. That's the problem. And there's like, oh my God, there's so much racism in the school. Again, we only got like a fraction of them. Like these were pouring in. This was a concerted effort. It gets crazier. Listen to this.
So there needs to be some
Check this
sort
out.
of
this is wild.
Advocacy group for that, and that needs to happen just as immediately as we possibly can, since school is starting soon. There needs to be an anti-racist class.
What?
And or make the anti-racist books that are out there part of the freshman seminar.
Nope.
Those are really great.
No, they're not.
Thorough books.
I'm not reading Dr. Kendi. My kids are not going to read Dr. Kendi. They're not going to read Robin DiAngelo's White Fragility. That's what anti-racism books are. White fragility, right? How to be an anti-racist. How to make a millionaire richer by buying his books. Or reading that one woman that went to the Cracker Barrel in Montana and said, "Oh, are these white people going to let me walk out of here alive?" Yeah, this is now this is a policymaker saying this now, that we are going to start teaching classes like this. This is why I'm running for school committee. No, we're not. No, we are not going to do that. And you should not allow this in your child's school either. And oh yeah, she's just getting started. Check out what she says next.
To get through, there is a list of books that people have recommended for anti-racist learning. And then I think that it would be very easy for the schools to make sure that there were non-holiday specific decorations.
What?
You can go ahead and put seasonal decorations up there. Snowflakes are fantastic.
Oh, snowflake. Okay.
Put them all over everything. Make everything sparkly with snowflakes.
Oh, sparkly.
It doesn't have to be Christmas. It doesn't have to be a specific, holiday. And I think that should just be like a regular rule that everyone should follow.
Oh.
Like there is no specific holiday.
Oh. This is what when my daughter couldn't go to school, right? They weren't opening the schools. They weren't trying to figure out a way to open the schools. What were they doing? They were talking about snowflakes. Should we allow snowflakes in the school? Yeah, I'm pro snowflake. No Christmas stuff allowed. No Santa references or anything like that. No jingle bells. Just snowflakes. That'll do. This is what the policymakers are doing. Not on my watch. Not anymore.
I'm sorry, am I going far too long? Because I have a billion things.
No, you're not going.
Oh, it's hilarious.
I was just, please go ahead, and then
I'll do 3 more, and then we'll move.
I'm gonna get to the
from there.
Things that we can change, right? So
then I don't have to go into those and talk about them much anymore. And just to make sure that everybody realizes this, microaggressions that everyone has been mentioning, that is racist abuse.
Oh, racist.
They're not micro anything. That is abuse that people go through every day, all day, every half hour, every hour, twice, 3 times, 4 times a day, whatever they're tolerating all day is abuse that they're going through. It is not just a micro aggression. There's nothing micro about it. It eats away at a person's soul. So it's very
a microaggression is like when you go up to if you like went up to it's like an awkward thing that you say. Like, so if you go up to a Puerto Rican woman and you said something like, "So can you teach me how to salsa dance?" That's a microaggression, because you're assuming that because she is Latina, that she knows how to salsa dance. But according to this one, the policymaker, that's racial abuse. That is abuse. It is not okay. You can get seriously hurt by this. Unbelievable. I cannot wait to get on this committee. I can't wait. Let's hear another party. Check this out. This is the chairman speaking here. I'm going to fast forward to the 114 mark. Let's see what she has to say.
don't start in high school. So in order to get more people on board, that we need to communicate in a way.
This woman is a vice principal at Murdoch High School in Winchendon.
And I also, and Catherine, just to applaud you, but also to make a deep acknowledgement that these racist views don't start in high school.
Okay.
Right? They start much earlier on. And that I am also kind of thinking of a way in this vein to bring forward the voices of middle school students and even elementary school students in our purpose this evening. I think to my own Caucasian children.
Caucasian children. Oh my God.
The death of Mr. Floyd.
Oh my God.
Kids told me that I learned in school that Martin Luther King stopped racism, right? And I have a third grader and a first grader.
Okay, so your third grader and your first grader learned in school that Martin Luther King stopped racism. Of course, Martin Luther King didn't stop racism. Everybody knows that. But to a third grader, what Martin Luther King did was he pressured and lobbied the government through nonviolent protest to enact legislation that would guarantee the rights of African Americans in the United States of America. That's what Martin Luther King did. A third grader doesn't know what legislation is. They don't know what any of that stuff means because they're too young to learn about that. So, of course, their take home, if you ask your first grader, like, what did Martin Luther King do? Martin Luther King fixed racism. It's cute. Of course he didn't fix racism, but it's cute. They get it. They get the idea that, like, this guy fought racism. He knew racism was bad, and he's the guy who did something about it. Okay? That's it. But she's like, oh my God, my first grader doesn't know. He doesn't know that Martin Luther King marched on Selma in 1965. And then in 1964, he marched on Washington and he gave his I Have a Dream speech. And then in 1963, he wrote the letters from a Birmingham jail. And in 1961, he participated in the freedom rides. What? Why would your first grader know all that stuff? Stop it. She's acting like, oh, well, we're obviously not educating our kids enough because they're 7. They don't need to learn all that yet. They'll learn it when they get to me. When they get to 11th grade, I'm going to teach them that. I'm going to teach them it real good too. You couldn't pass my class without knowing that. We read letters from a Birmingham jail. We read the entire I Have a Dream speech, broke it all down stanza by stanza, talked about what it meant. We talked about the freedom rides. We talked about it all, man. We did the sit-ins. We did SNCC. We did CORE. We did the Rosa Parks sit. We did the 1957 Little Rock desegregation of Central High School. We did it all, man. Medgar Evers, you name it. We covered every possible civil rights topic because I taught 11th grade. That's what you do in 11th grade. Your kids in first grade, they're not learning that yet. There's a difference, dear. Jeez Louise.
Their education in the very primary grades was not complete. That was not complete. Anti-racist.
Oh.
So I think in order for this purpose to move forward, we don't just need to include the views of the high school students, that we really need to understand how our younger students are being educated and how we can educate them properly. And I also want to really put some action points forward for Director Keenan tonight.
Guys, it's like they have a gun to their head. It really is. Just like, say this, say it. Like they're being held hostage. This is not anti-racism. My kids were taught they should, because they're doing finger painting. They're in first grade, dear. Stop it. Stop it. The highlight of the day was, what did you eat for lunch?
In terms of curriculum. So in terms of what I just said, ensuring that K through 12 education includes anti-racist text, includes text from a multicultural perspective. Includes text from those who are experiencing racism, not those who are writing about those racist times.
This is a lie. This is just a lie. We're not learning from the perspective of people who were the victims of racism. Who do you think wrote letters from a Birmingham jail? Martin Luther King. You know why they're called that? Because he was in jail. He got arrested for that. That's why they call it, and he wrote letters. He actually wrote it on toilet paper because they didn't give him any stationery when he was in jail. We're only learning from the perspective of white people. No, you're not. You're reading primary source documents. I am so insulted by it. And this is what I am going to bring to the table as a former history teacher is I can debunk all this stuff. I can debunk it all in 5 seconds. Stop it. Goes on to say.
And I think that in moving forward, I know Catherine's heard from about 200 students.
She is a vice principal at Murdoch High School.
And I would love to see some sort of polling.
She's one of the Princeton representatives
in terms of what they've experienced, in terms of racism.
Oh, okay.
Sexism.
Poll more kids.
Yeah. Other ways that maybe their sexuality was not appreciated.
Oh,
because I think
that's what we should do.
Our charge is anti-racism, but it's also ensuring that LGBTQ rights are heard,
of course,
ensuring that women's rights are heard as well. So this made very long-winded speech. I don't often get to talk very much. So
all I could think of while I was watching this is just my daughter is doing gym class by doing jumping jacks in her room. And this is what they're doing. That is enraging. Parents in this district and everywhere. And I guarantee this is probably happening in your district and you don't even know about it. Because who the hell watches the subcommittee meetings? This video has 52 views. That's how many people watch this. But they're in charge.
Usually I just get to nod my head and make sure you guys are talking.
What else we got here? Anything else?
Experts.
Oh, here's another one.
So that is what I have tonight. Thank you guys for hearing me.
Okay. So now they're going to talk about what they're going to do.
I do have a few words to share, but if you wanted to go first.
If I could, yeah.
Oh, this guy. This guy makes like $120,000 a year. When I get on, we're gonna do a little audit of our own and figure out where we can trim the fat. Because they want to do like an override, right? No. You close the schools down. You owe the taxpayers money. We're not raising taxes for a school override. Are you crazy? You don't take services away from people. You know how many people in this district and all across the state had to shell out thousands of dollars to send their kids to Catholic school or learning pods so that they could keep working, or had to quit their job or take time off from work? And you want an override? Are you crazy? So this tool bag can have a job? Are you kidding me? He's like, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. So he's going to talk about here what he wants to do. Let me find the part here. It's at the 124. What he wants to do, or what they want to do.
Level, how are we introducing these topics, each one of these topics at each grade level, so that we can look at it and say, is this appropriate? Are we teaching from all different perspectives?
Oh, good.
Oh
my God.
Are we teaching from the history of the Europeans and the history of the Africans
Yes.
and the history of the Asians? Are we teaching
Yes.
from all these different perspectives?
Yes, you are.
And I think it would be great if we could get some sort of Excel sheet or outline
Oh.
these charts by grade level with these topics.
A
and
chart.
addressing them.
Yeah, that'll
Sure,
fix
I'll
it.
just respond to that quickly if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Sure.
Ask about. Yeah, so you're what you're alluding to there is an audit, like a curriculum audit.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yes, that's something I've been planning to do very, very soon. Takes a bit of time in a district this big, but I'm already started on it. So
Oh,
and
good.
the
He's
first
earning
thing
his
that
money.
You asked for is a report out on basically the steps we're taking to ensure that students, teachers, administrators understand the reporting procedures.
Well, not just the procedures, more
And-
So we're going to do an audit. So we're going to shell out more money to do a curriculum audit to make sure, so we can make a list of like our LGBTQ and, Native American, is every single marginalized group. Like, are you kidding me? This is what we're paying for? Well, my daughter didn't get to go to school. Are you kidding me? This is criminal what these people are doing. Absolutely criminal. So I'm going to fast forward a bit here to here's a slideshow. They do a student presentation. Check this out. So now they're going to talk about, is the mascot racist or offensive? Our mascot at Wachusett High School are the mountaineers. Okay. A mountaineer historically generally refers to people in Appalachia who were backwards, poor. They liked moonshine. That's a big thing about that. They made their own alcohol. They yodeled a lot. Country music was developed in Appalachia. They were poor. They didn't have much. Often no shoes. They looked raggedy. Didn't have the best health care or life expectancy. It's like West Virginia today, basically. That's what a mountaineer is. Why are we called the Mountaineers? Because Wachusett Mountain is in Princeton. It's in the district. Okay? That's what it's named after. So it's just a pun on that. Are we backwards people in Holden and Rutland maybe? Are we backwards people in Paxton and Sterling? No. We're regular people, but it's okay because it's a mascot. If you go to LSU, are you a tiger? No, you're not. You're a human being. You don't have teeth. You walk on two legs, not four. That's what a mascot is. Okay? It's somebody who's not you. I know this is hard to understand. So let's listen to what they say about the mountaineer. Should
I just
Wachusett
want to know if that's if everyone can read
retire
that.
the current image of the mountaineer?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Just let me know when to change slides. Thank you.
This is what adults are
Okay,
doing.
So,
Oh
this
my
was asked for me to have this shared, and I, just found out today, like, we could have it shared in this meeting, and I didn't want to wait a whole nother month because we had originally thought of meeting in another month, but I would have loved if our student who gave us this would have been able to present it herself. But it is an important topic, and I've heard about this particular topic for a while.
How does the mountaineer
And
apply to an
just get
actively
started. So the question is, why should Wachusett
like, so what do they want the mascot to be? What is the anti-racist mascot? You tell me. Dr. Kendi? We're going to be the Kendis? We'll be the Monica Cannon Grants. How about that? The Wachusett Monica Cannon Grants. Will that make you happy? Jeez Louise.
retire the current image of the mountaineer, and how does it apply to an actively anti-racist school culture?
Oh,
It's a presentation by Isabella LeBlanc, Nation Based on Race.
so this is a student who clearly is not that intelligent, and that's fine because they're kids, but they're treating them like they're profound. These are the major events in the civil rights movement. Okay, Wachusett was founded and made the Mountaineer. That year, Rosa Parks refused to change her seat. 9 years later, the Civil Rights Act happened, and now 2020, we have the ability to make a change. No, you don't. You don't, because it's not the same fight as it was 70 years ago. I know that, the media would like to make you think that you're living in this racist world, but you're really just not. Okay. And there's all these facts on here about how black people are more incarcerated than white people, are more likely to be killed. What they failed to point out is that they also disproportionately commit that amount of crime. Okay. Violent crime. That is why they are more incarcerated. Now, you could argue about that. That's the result of a manifestation of Jim Crow, and that's a fine argument. Okay. But the fact, it's not like racist cops are just going around only arresting white people or only arresting black people. It's not how it works. Okay. Anyway, what else do they got in there? So they go, what is a mountaineer? A person who takes part in mountaineering. Our current mascot does not look ready to climb a mountain because he lacks climbing gear. My daughter is not in school, and this is what the school committee is doing. Saying, how come our mascot doesn't have climbing gear on? Oh, I don't know. Probably because he's a cartoon. And also, that's not what a mountaineer is. A mountaineer is not somebody who climbs mountains. A mountaineer is somebody who lives in the mountains. Okay? They don't have electricity. They're mountaineers. God, it's aggravating. So, yeah, they're like, here's the mountaineer. This is the mascot that got them all riled up. It's a guy with a gun. Oh my God, not a guy with a gun. And we're going to see. And look at this. Images are powerful. So they're actually comparing the mascot here to the Nazi flag, the Confederate flag. Threw BLM in there. That's interesting. And oh yeah, Blue Lives Matter. See, these are all hateful things. Hateful things. God. Will the committee express its dissatisfaction with the current racist, sexist, and violent mascot image and call for a change? If I'm on this committee, I'm like, look at kids. That's not, you don't tell us what we do. No. Don't lecture me about like, well, I do. No, it's not racist. How is the mountaineer racist? How is it sexist? Because it's not a chick. It's violent. He's got a gun because he lives in the woods and there's bears. He has to kill. He doesn't have a Wegmans nearby. So he has to eat squirrels, and they don't just, commit suicide. You have to kill them. That's why the mountaineer has a gun.
Mascot image and call for a change.
So listen to what these people say. Now you got to hear what they say about it.
Member Haynes? Wait a second. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Member Haynes, and I'll ask Krista.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Okay, thanks. I just wondered if this could be one of the.
I think, Linda.
Okay, here we go.
I think that it would be great to change that mountaineer around, but people are very, very in love with it. That I have seen, even conversations that are online, currently right now about that are very about that mascot, and it can definitely be something that we
thank you, Jeff.
address
exactly
later on. and it definitely should be something that is addressed later on. And I agree that it should be updated. It is just, I mean, it doesn't even represent how awesome we are.
This is what the adults in the district are doing. The mountaineer, this is the priority there. Not getting my daughter back in school. They don't care about that. It's the mountaineer doesn't reflect how awesome we are in Holden. We're awesome, guys. We're so awesome out here. The awesomest. We deserve a way more awesome mascot than a mountaineer. It's not nearly awesome enough. Like, what is more awesome? We need we'll be the Obamas, okay? We're the Wachusett Obamas. That's awesome. That's dope right there. The Wachusett Cardi B's. How about that? Can we do that? Is that awesome enough for you? Oh my goodness gracious. These people decide things. So check out this woman at the 145. This woman represents the town of Sterling on the committee. Here's what she says about the Mountaineer. Oh my God, this woman. I can't even with her.
Oh, I saw comments about it. So I'm anti-gun, so I think the rifle should go.
Oh,
the man can stay, a woman, I don't care, whoever's voted in, but yeah, that doesn't signify something very welcoming to me too. So I agree with member Long Belial.
Member Long Belial is one of the people I'm running against too. That we have to get rid of this because the gun, he's carrying a gun and it doesn't make her feel welcoming, guys. Yeah. Doesn't make her feel welcoming. The Detroit Lions, the Lions don't make her feel welcoming either. They'll eat you. You know that. What would make you feel? How about the Wachusett Bunny Rabbits? The Wachusett Bunny Rabbit. I mean, that's intimidating, right? We're the Bunny Rabbits. Hop, hop, hop. Eat a carrot, maybe. Oh no, they might eat your produce. So that's offensive. This woman actually said that, and she is a policymaker. My daughter is not in school. This is what they're doing. Oh, wait do you hear what this one, Asima Silva has to say? Her beef with the mascot. And we're almost done.
The dues. So thank you.
Oy.
Okay. If anybody else has any comments or, because I had like a comment to share. Like I said, I am an alumni of Wachusett, and I'll be honest, our mascot always confused me when I was in high school. I didn't understand why a mountaineer was skinny, because in my opinion, if they climbed mountains, they really should be pretty buff.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. My daughter's not in school, and the adults in charge of this, their primary concern is that the mascot is too skinny. He should be buffer because he climbs mountains. You want to talk about like not understanding cultures? Why don't any of these people understand the culture of Appalachia, right? Of mountaineers. That's a significant subculture within the United States of America in American history. Is those people who lived in Western North Carolina, Western Virginia, Eastern Tennessee. That's Appalachia. And they were skinny because they were malnourished and they had really bad health care. That's why they were skinny. You didn't see a lot of fat people in Appalachia because they didn't have Sonics yet, and they didn't have In-N-Out Burger yet. Now they do. So that's why 16 and Pregnant is a show. But before that, they did not, and they were often skinny. She goes on.
Didn't understand why they were carrying a jug of whatever and a rifle at the same time. How do you hunt that way?
A jug of whatever. It's called moonshine, dear. Again, learn the culture. They didn't have a package store. They had to make their own stuff. They got drunk a lot. And yes, they would go around with the Beverly Hillbilly moonshine and a gun, and they would shoot things. Sometimes they found oil, and then they moved to Beverly Hills if they did that. I mean, this is like they've honestly never heard of this culture. This is amazing.
I remember asking a classmate of mine, how exactly does that represent us? Like, what do we do that represents that image?
It doesn't represent you. It doesn't represent you at all. What? I mean, name a mascot. I mean, what are your high school mascots? I don't even know. Like the Uxbridge Spartans? Oh, no. Well, you know, I haven't killed any, invading hordes lately. So I'm not real. Does the Spartans really represent us with their shields and their swords and stuff like that? Oh, he's a panther. Oh, panther. Oh, rawr, yeah. Doesn't really represent you. I do live near a mountain. Exactly. The Friars, right? Ooh, I haven't molested any altar boys. Does that really represent us? The Wachusett Sex Pistols. That's a good one. The Bulldogs. Oh, no. I'm not a fat dog that can't run. Oh, no. It doesn't really represent me. The Salem Witches. That's right. Right? That's a good mascot. That's actually historical. Are they going to get rid of that because it's like offensive? Probably eventually. The Methuen Roberts Rangers. That's a mascot. What the hell does that even mean? Oh, Sutton. You could be the Susies and the Sammies, whatever those are. I think that's what we're going for here. Okay. Anyway, that's you guys get the point there. That's what I'm up against tomorrow. This is why I'm running for school committee, and not on my watch, baby. Those days are over. Yeah, Westfield, they made warplanes in Westfield. That's why they call them the Bombers, the Westfield Bombers, man. There's some cool high school mascots in this state. What are some good ones? There's some, I don't know, like as corny as it is, like the Tanners, the Peabody and the Woburn Tanners, because y'all made a bunch of shoes in those cities. That's why they're called those. The Dandies, the Auburn Dandies. That's a good one. Before they were the Rockets, because Rockets were invented in Auburn, they were the Dandies, which was a finely dressed gentleman. But I guess that was, I don't know, offensive or something. I don't know. I'd rather be called the Dandies than the Rockets. That's a cool nickname. All right. Anyway, I got to call it a night, guys, but I guess we'll talk to you guys tomorrow because it's getting kind of late. So again, tune into the debate at 6 o'clock tomorrow, and then tune into the live stream for the History Podcast at 9 o'clock. All right. Peace, Turtle Riders.